They talking about you need $5 million to retire. $5 million. I mean, that is out of reach for so many people. When I was coming up, $1 million, that was the number. If you had $1 million, you were rich forever. But now, at a minimum, they talking about you need $5 million. Well, we are here to tell you, you do not need $5 million. In fact, that $1 million might still be the magic number, but we're going to talk about that. Hey guys, it's Aman
and Christina
from Our Rich Journey. Today, we are talking about how much money you really need to retire. And in the news lately, this number, $5 million, has been floating around a lot. They are saying that the average American needs about $5 million to retire comfortably. Well, let's have that conversation.
So in this video, we're going to talk about where that $5 million number came from, why it may not apply to you, and how you can actually retire with a lot less without sacrificing the life that you want to have in retirement.
So lately, $5 million has been popping up in the news as the new retirement number. And the reason for this is rising costs. Inflation has driven up expenses like housing, healthcare, and daily living levels that make the traditional benchmark of $1 million seem like not enough.
So for example, recent data has shown that healthcare costs can total over hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement. So when you combine that with longer lifespans and higher living standards, that $5 million might not sound so crazy. So here's the thing. This is the reason why we really don't like that new $5 million number, because it's really unrealistic for a lot of people to amass $5 million, even after working so hard and so long. But the thing is, your number does not have to be $5 million. So let's talk about why. So first of all, retirement isn't just about hitting some arbitrary number that someone tells you that you need to hit. Instead, it's about finding ways to cover your expenses that you have in retirement. This number, this amount of expense, your budget, that is unique to you. So let's talk about how you figure out what you actually do need. Let's say that you anticipate your annual expenses in retirement to be $60,000 a year. And let's say that you plan to have other forms of passive income coming in when you retire. So maybe like Social Security, or you get rental income from a real estate property. Let's say that's $20,000. So what you do in this scenario is you would subtract your other income from your expenses. In this case, you need $40,000 a year from your investments. So using the 4% rule, which says you can safely withdraw 4% of your investments annually, you'd need $1 million, not $5 million, to generate $40,000 a year.
Now, Christina mentions the 4% rule, which we've talked a lot about on this channel when it comes to living off of your investment portfolio in order to retire early. If you want to watch more videos about the 4% rule and how to live off of your portfolio, check out the other videos in our playlist. Now, showing you this calculation is so important because so many people are going into retirement with an arbitrary number. They haven't done the calculation. And let's say you were listening to what these experts were saying and you use $5 million as your number. With a $5 million portfolio, if you took 4% from that, that means you would be living off of $200,000 a year, something that you don't necessarily need when your number is only $60,000 a year to live off of. It's important because it means that maybe you work for too long, maybe you sacrifice for too much to get to that $5 million, when in reality, you only needed $1 million to live comfortably in retirement.
So here is why $5 million typically tends to be overkill for a lot of people. It just assumes a really high cost of living lifestyle. And that is usually not applicable to a lot of people. You can live so many places across the world and live a really luxurious life without spending $200,000 a year. That's even different places in the States don't even require that in retirement.
I mean, for example, if you're living here in Portugal, or maybe you're living somewhere in South America or other parts of Asia, you could easily live off of $40,000 a year, live a comfortable life. So here's the reality for most retirees in the US. The average retirement savings for Americans aged 55 to 64 is around $200,000. So the idea of needing $5 million feels impossible for most people.
But that does not mean that retirement is out of reach. Again, it means you need to focus on your own unique circumstances and really focus on things that you can control, like your expenses, your savings, your investment strategy. So for those of you that really want to focus on your investment strategy and your financial independence plan, you have to check out our 365 Days to FIRE program. It's a year-long program that will be beginning on January 1st of 2025. We hope you can join us because it allows you to really build a plan that you need for success in FIRE. If you're interested in learning more, we'll leave a link in the description below, or you can also go to 365daystofire.com.
So to drive this point home, let's give two examples of two retirees. The first example is retiree number one. This person lives in a high cost of living city and spends $100,000 a year. Using the 4% rule, they would need $2.5 million in an investment account to retire. Now let's look at retiree number two, someone that wants to retire even sooner by moving to a low cost of living area. This retiree moves to a place where it only costs them $40,000 a year to live. So they would only need $1 million in an investment account.
So hopefully we've dispelled this rumor that you need $5 million. Maybe you need 2.5, maybe you need 1. It's all about doing the math and figuring out what works for you. Now, let's say you do the math and you come up with a number, but you want to lower that number even more. We have 3 things that you can do to retire for less. The first thing is to lower your expenses. So if you're already living in a high cost of living area, you can consider moving to a lower cost of living area, or maybe you can even stay in the same place that you're at, but downsize into a smaller place with a lower mortgage or a lower rent.
The next thing you can do is maximize your current income. You can look for more opportunities to make more money at work, find a new job, or maybe start a new side hustle. And the last thing you can do is you can take the money that you're saving and the money that you're making more of and invest that money. You see, investing is so important when it comes to growing your wealth to help you retire. If there's anyone out there that is trying to save their way to retirement, you will be saving for a very long time. You must invest because investing allows your money to compound, to grow through dividends, interest, and capital gains. And that is what is going to get you to retirement sooner rather than later.
So we encourage you to take some time out to think about what your ideal retirement looks like. Where do you want to live? What type of life do you want to live? What will your expenses be? Once you start thinking about that, then you can really figure out the amount of money that you need to retire. So hopefully this video gave you some food for thought. And of course, if you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.